Okay, so oops. What I want you to do right now is I want you to get your calculators out, and I want you to make yourself two X and Y axes. You might want to pause while you do that. Draw two coordinate planes and write these two equations at the top. You might want to pause and write that, and make sure you have your calculator out. Okay, now that your calculator's out, we want to graph these two equations. So, I think my picture hides that one. So we're just going to very simply hit on. Mine I was using earlier, so we always want to make sure we go back to the standard version. I'm going to go to my y equals, clear that out, make sure none of these are highlighted. So I'm going to put in my 2x squared plus 3x minus 1. And I want to hit graph. And we want to graph this over here, so I have to figure out which points to put on there. So you know, if you hit the trace, it automatically gives you your y-intercept, so you can go ahead and put a point there if you haven't already. And then we also have this feature, you should see it opens up, so there's a minimum value. So if we go to second calc, and number 3 says minimum, we can use our cursor and our left arrow and put it about where we think the bottom of the parabola is. We're going to hit enter, enter, and enter, and it tells us right about where we think that vertex is. So this one's about -1/2 and -2. So we can go ahead and put our points at -1/2 and 2, which is about here. And then we said that the was it the y-intercept was at, let's see, I want that to clear. -1. Okay. So we have that here. Oh, here at the -1. We have the minimum value here, and then we're just going to draw it up, and then the other side should just mirror it, and hopefully yours looks nicer than mine here. Alright, so that's what your graph should look like that. So then we're going to go over and do the next graph, and this one looks the same, except we have a negative, so we're going to insert a negative here, and this is minus, and this is plus. So we just changed some of our signs around here. Then we're going to hit graph, and again we can just hit trace and find out the y-intercept is 1. And if we want to find the maximum, because there's a top value on this one, we're going to go down to 4, and we're going to left arrow it to about where we think the maximum is, and then we're going to hit enter to we want to guess, and again that's -1/2 and 2. So we can go ahead and put our points here. This was at 1, and this one was at -1/2 and 2. So this one is going down. So what I want you to, and then yours should look nicer than mine, but what I want you to look at is this one and the sign of this one. The 2 is the coefficient here, and then there's a -2 here. So I want you to understand what a positive coefficient and a negative coefficient does to those equations. Also, you should be looking at, we have this -1 here, how that related to this graph, and this +1 and how that related to this graph. Then if we go down here, it says predict if this function will have an absolute minimum or maximum, and explain your reasoning. So I'd like you to pause it and write down your answer. Okay. And then when you come back, you should be able to tell me that because this has a negative in front of the half, that means it's going to be going down. So you should be using nice math terms. it should look like this because it has a negative, and this is called the coefficient to x squared. So because it has a negative coefficient, the parabola will be going down, leaving it a maximum. It has a top value here.
Donovan Thompson was my name.
Hello. Okay. I think that's it. Yep. So mostly you need to identify a couple of things here. What the coefficient does to the parabola, and I also want you to come in and do add in a number 4 here. And I want, for number 4, I want you to explain to me what this is to the equation. Okay, and you should be able to know that up top. What does this mean for the parabola? What is this particular? That's called your constant, remember, because it's ax squared plus bx plus c. This is the c value of the constant. What does that do for the graph? Okay, so make sure you have a number 4 on here on your notes for tomorrow, and you explain what the constant means. And you should be able to pick that up from the 2 graphs up there. And I will see you in the morning. 704.